JJ the CPA here, hope you're doing well. Why all the stress with PPP? I'm hearing a lot of stress. I'm taking a lot of phone calls through my website, jjthecpa.com, where you can hire me to do a consult. Comments, emails, clients, a lot of concern, a lot of stress on PPP forgiveness. I'm not stressed and you shouldn't be either, and here's why. And then I'm going to say this right now. If you're not a subscriber, I'd love it if you'd stop right here, click it, because I got good info coming out. 27 years of CPA experience. What I'm sharing with you is what I'm sharing with my clients. All right, let's get into why you should not be stressed about PPP forgiveness. All right, so the first thing I want you to know is this. I'm not going to let you down. JJ the CPA here for you. With PPP, what the stress seems to be surrounding is payroll. And I've had a number of calls, and when I go through this, a lot of relief is sighed over the phone, or just, sigh of relief. And kind of light bulb. So here's the light bulb, okay? When you're handing in your forgiveness application for PPP, you're just taking, here's the period of time, here's your covered period, here's the amount of payroll I had during that time, you're handing it in. Right, so you got PPP, it was meant to cover, in essence, 8 weeks of payroll. We knew that there was a requirement to use 75% of it for payroll. Then there was a reduction of that with the PPP Flexibility Act, that at least 60% of it has to be used for payroll. Those requirements still exist in that the maximum amount that can be forgiven of your PPP has to include 60% for payroll. So I've got a number of videos with a whiteboard. Look at the PPP forgiveness playlist that we will put in the body of this video. But when it comes to payroll, okay, right now, put 60% out of your head. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to hand in your PPP forgiveness application, and from the beginning of your covered period till the end, the payroll that was paid during it, the payroll that was incurred, even if paid after, but the payroll that was incurred during that covered period, you're just going to go, here it is. You're not just handing in 8 weeks. You're not just handing in 60%. You're not handing in anything other than, here is the payroll that I had. Simple, right? If you're using a payroll company, you say to the payroll company, hey, I need the gross wages from this payroll period to this payroll period end. Maybe you have to do a little calculation at the end for how much was incurred but paid after. You don't have to do that at all at the beginning. I have some videos that have come out specifically in the last week talking about the payroll of paid and incurred. So go look for those in the PPP forgiveness playlist. Again, I'll put a link to it. So you're just providing the payroll, you're done. You're just providing your payroll, whatever it is, and you're done in terms of, here's my payroll. Health insurance, what was paid and incurred, here's it is. Retirement benefit, here's what's paid and incurred, here it is. What you're not doing is going, okay, of my PPP money, here's how much went to payroll. Right? Now, it may sound like I'm talking two things out of my mouth, but this is what's causing all the stress. How do I show, how I use the PPP? So what is not required by the SBA, made clear in black and white, is that you don't have to, let's look at this as though it's physical money. I'm going to be a little sarcastic, but if the SBA said, here is a $1 bill, and you took a $1 $1 bill. The SBA is not saying, okay, you show me how you spent that $1, because that $1 can only be spent on payroll, insurance, retirement benefits, rent, utilities, and interest. There's that dollar, and then we're not needing to sit around and then go, okay, oh, there's some utilities, here's $1. Oh, here's some payroll, here's $1. That's not how it works. You're not required to have a separate bank account. My point is, you don't have to show the SBA how you're tracing. There's no tracing of your dollars. What you're doing is, on the application for your forgiveness, you're saying, hey, here's my time, here's my covered period, here's payroll I had, here's the utilities I had, here's the rent that I had, here's the interest that I had, paid and incurred. There it is, whatever it is. So you're going to, most likely, if you're selecting the 24-week period, you're going to have this much. You're going to have this much expenses, and your PPP loan was probably this. You're going to have this much expenses, and your PPP loan was probably this. And they're going to be able to use the easy form, as long as you just don't have any FTE issues or reduction of salary in any one employee that was more than 25%. I got a lot of videos in my playlist about FTEs, reductions, and calculations, so you need to look at that. What I'm talking about in this video is, you don't need to be worried and stressed about the payroll unless you just don't have any. Okay? So when you're talking about your covered period, I'll just say in closing that your covered period is most likely and should be 24 weeks. I mean, here's a hint that that's the best way to go. If you've got a PPP June 5th or after, you have to use the 24 weeks. I don't see how 24 weeks hurts you. But what's interesting is there are those that they're so stressed about PPP, they just want to hurry and get it over with, and then they make themselves more stressed. The point of the Flexibility Act, the point of the 24-week Act is to be like, whoa, just, hey, you know what? You got three times the amount of time we gave you originally. We gave you 8 weeks. Now we're giving you 24. We're giving you 24 weeks. SBA and SBA guidelines, I've done it in videos. They're like, if you've paid it, it counts. You paid someone that a bonus they maybe didn't earn, but they earned last year, it counts. Okay, so you're gonna have plenty of payroll. You're just saying, hey, here's my period of time. There's my payroll. And the thing to note is that the SBA made this super clear, and I got a video coming out, should you file for forgiveness now, but just know this, even if you select the 24 period, which I don't see a way that you shouldn't, you can hand in your forgiveness application even before the 24 weeks is up. So you take your covered period, here's your 24 weeks. Even if you hand in the application at 14 weeks, all your requirements end. And if you hand it in at 14 weeks, you go, well, here's my payroll, here's 14 weeks, there you go. Now, if you're like, hey, I put together my forgiveness application at 14 weeks, but the bank's saying, hey, we're not going to accept them yet. But just leave it at the 14 weeks. You're not required to then show, oh, well, I had payroll the next 2 weeks, I'm handing in at week 16. Because what's the point of the forgiveness application? To show that you spent the money on this during the covered period. What's this? Payroll, health insurance, retirement benefits, rent, utilities, and interest. That's what this is. Just, hey, what did you pay in this time frame? Just what'd you pay? Don't worry about if it's 60% or any of that. Not at the putting it on your application. Now, when you get to the application, you're going to do the math, and it is what it is. You either spent it or you didn't. And if you're at week 14 and you do it all and you're like, oh, somehow I don't have enough here, the math isn't working out, I didn't achieve full forgiveness, guess what the whole point of the Flexibility Act is? Well, if you're at 14 weeks and you haven't met all the requirements, well, you got 10 more weeks to have more payroll, to have more rent, to have more utilities, to have more interest. Now, the main thing is that your loan can't be forgiven more than 40% for rent, utilities, and interest. But with my clients, here's what it's going to be. If they got a $100,000 PPP amount, they're going to have probably $175,000 in payroll that we're going to put on the top line. 175 PPP loan is 100. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to put the rent, we're going to put the utilities, and we're going to put the interest. And there's going to probably be $200,000 of those expenses during a covered period, right? We're going to do the 24 whenever we decide to go, all right, we got plenty-o, let's hand it in. Okay, so they got 100 grand, we're putting in 200,000 of expenses. Great. The bank's going to love it. SBA is going to love it. Like, oh gosh, they got it on payroll alone. Why include rent and utilities? Well, you need to go watch my videos about PPP and qualified business income. Okay, I've got a playlist talking about the tax ramifications. So at the end of the day, no more stress. Here's how you should be stressed. You got it incorrectly. And the only reason you should be stressed is now you got to pay it back. That's all. There should be no stress about this. You're just going to simply go, what was my gross pay during this period? What was the gross pay to my employees? Yes, there are exceptions for owners. I've got videos on that. I'm going to be doing additional videos. All right, do you feel better? I hope you do, because I want you to feel better. Hey, guess what? I've got a $1,000 contest. Go to the body of this. About this simple. Got a new book that came out, Cracking the CPA Code. It's on Amazon. I'm just telling you about it because it's a chance for you literally to win $1,000. Go buy my book. Email me the receipt at jj@jjthecpa.com. It's all in the body. You can go to my website, jjthecpa.com, and see all this. But here's all you're doing. You buy the book, you email us the receipt, your name's in the hat, and then during my live show on Friday, September 11th, between 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. Central Daylight Time, I'm going to draw a name out of the hat, and it's $1,000. Some other little contests going on social media. If you win one of those contests, you're also in the pot. Lots of ways to actually get your name in the pot, but the direct way is to buy my book. Even if you're not interested in that, thank you for tuning in. I'd love it if you subscribe. I'll tell you this, if you made it to here, you're feeling even just a little bit of relief, and you're not a subscriber, come on, this is a channel you want to subscribe to. All right, hey, don't you ever forget, you've never met a CPA quite like me. All right, hey, have a great day. American CPA. CPA.